And then I try sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to let it all out. Well, it's in my head and I'm feeling just a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs,
I'm making true fucking statements. Let's get this done.
All right, we're here live. We got Bacon making true fucking statements. You already know what Battle Hype TV quarantine conversations. We're out here. Bacon's been doing a lot. If you haven't been following what's been going on with the quarantine and battle rap, then you probably haven't seen all the moves Bacon's been making. But he just battled the queen of Irish battle rap, Joy France, internationally acclaimed poet. Crazy. One of the oldest female battle rappers out there. Very, very accomplished individual. And Bacon just got to do a video battle with her that came out great, by the way. Came out awesome. It was great to watch. You may also know Bacon from his pork roasts that he's been doing lately, with the bacon bits, getting salty on people, getting all up in there, getting people in their feels in a good way. Everybody loves that kind of shit. Some good wholesome roasts, and yeah. And so I don't know how you've been feeling about all this quarantine and the battle rap related stuff, but I think you've been handling it pretty well from an outside view.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been having fun with it. It's fun. You keep busy, you know. I did the battle with Joy. I did a battle with Mackenzie. Frank Miraculous sent some shots at me at the 413 contest. I sent some shots back and managed to win that sucker.
There you go. Yeah, you
and,
did win that. Yeah.
And then I'm leading heavily in the polls against Deliver for the Hitless Battle Tournament. So we've been keeping busy, you know, rocking my quarantine beard, my quarantine look, which to be fair is identical to my normal look. Like nothing has changed in the hair or beard department. So, you know, it's
I feel
right.
that. Every time I go out, I consider shaving the beard because every time I got to put a mask on, I'm like, damn it, the beard is always in the way. But if I shave the beard, I'm gonna regret it.
I've decided, you know, I'm gonna live as a hobbit. I'm gonna live as a sort of an apartment hermit to avoid. Look at this thing; it's ridiculous now. But yeah, I already cursed the sun and sort of dwell in dark areas. The lights on for your benefit, pretty much only. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, thriving right now, living your best life.
Absolutely, man.
I see you've been running those D&D D&D games on Twitch.
Yes,
It's always a good time. It's
a lot of fun. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a D&D with THC. And before you ask, corporate, THC stands for the Hip Hop Crew. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, but I've been running. That's a stream. Somebody else owns that, and they're awesome. And I just been doing a Wednesday night session with like Lex Luthor and Alan Bell and a whole bunch of other dudes. So it's a good time. They're a very Robbie group of individuals. Lex is playing a bard with chlamydia that doesn't have any memory. So, you know, we see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely D&D can be an interesting time. It's always a good time because you never know what you're going to get.
Really, I'm just trying to produce content. That's my goal. Like I've been wanting to do it for a while. I got laid off, so making up the time with everything from Mario Maker levels to roasts to battles to working on some random ass writing projects right now.
Yeah, I feel that. I've spent an inordinate amount of time rebuilding my base, like 18 times in Fallout 76. I've been rebuilding it at least once a week, needlessly. But you know, it's okay. I've now moved my base all over the map, and I probably wish I had stayed like 4 spots back. But it's okay because I have all the time in the world now. I now work from home, so I've been playing a lot of Fallout Shelter while I work, and that's about it. Nice and simple. Yeah, nice and simple. But
surprising how much the video battles have taken off. You know, I think they're pretty.
Yeah,
they're pretty fun.
I didn't think they would hit the way that they have been, but some people have been doing them really well, which is why.
The trick is to not approach it with the same energy that you would approach a normal battle with, you know, like, because you look at a battle in person, there's just this tension in the air. These guys are standing across from each other and screaming these insults. So even if the writing isn't like stellar, the energy of the crowd can really carry over and still make.
Yeah.
Now,
I've seen classics that could be arguably some of the worst written battles that I've seen.
fact. No, I've seen a couple of those. I'm not gonna name names here, but but if you try that on a video, you're just screaming at a fucking phone. Like, you look stupid. So you gotta kind of take a different approach, which is actually why I was so excited to battle Joy. Like, how the fuck? What the fuck do you say to her? Like, she's such a person. So that's
I'm was just still waiting for one of these battlers to get their hands on a green screen. I'm just waiting for it. It's gonna happen.
I think iBattle. I don't know how much you've been following, but maybe I know I've seen some production value and some interesting little gimmicks used in iBattle's tournament that they just ran. That was
I haven't seen all the battles from that. I've seen about half of them, I'd say.
They're fire. They're fire.
Definitely.
You get some interesting problems too. Like, I was, for the live version of the Deliver battle that I did for the Hitless Battle tournament, my buddy called me fucking in the middle of my round. Like, I'm getting a phone blow up and I'm losing my internet connection because suddenly I'm getting called. So, interesting technical challenges, most certainly.
Yeah.
We're all staying busy.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Sue Surf Daylight battle from the Snoop Dogg's Gladiator School, but I'm waiting for someone to do that. Like, full on.
I'll have to check that out, definitely.
So basically, they did a battle in front of a green screen where it was the most cheesily produced with shitty CGI and Photoshop that you could ever imagine that Snoop Dogg had somehow orchestrated. Daylight had a bar where he did a gun motion and then his hand turned into a gun and fired a bullet, and all of this was done really low budget on a green screen though. So this all looks like something the homies from the AV Club put together. In theory, if they had done it super professionally, maybe gotten someone Avocado, because he's actually a legitimate highly paid Hollywood special effects guy. That's what he legit. Yeah, he worked on the Men Who Stare at Goats and stuff. He was the lead special effects guy for that movie and a couple other movies. He's actually pretty well known in the industry, which is crazy because now he just does battle rap. But he could have, if they had gotten someone like him to produce that Daylight Sue Surf, it would have come out a lot better. But they added in cheesy sound effects and all this, and they green screened him into the Roman Coliseum, so they were in the Gladiators Coliseum. It's an interesting concept. It's a battle that never gets talked about because it's in a 2-hour video. You have to. The Gladiator School was uploaded as a 2-hour long, the whole thing, onto YouTube because it was originally a pay-per-view. And so no one ever even watches the Sue Surf Daylight. It's a 2-round battle, which is also super weird.
I didn't even say battle. I'm going to have to check that out at the end of this, definitely.
Yeah, the whole event, they did a bunch of 2-round battles because Snoop Dogg was all about battle rap. He felt like battle rap was focused too heavily on the "I beat you, dog." He was like, y'all are fucking up. First off, y'all only need 2 rounds. Y'all each win 1 round. Keep the debate going. He was telling them all sorts of crazy stuff. He was telling battlers they should be recycling bars. He was like, I don't know why you're not recycling bars. Snoop Dogg is on video being like, I don't know why you guys don't recycle bars. I'd be recycling bars every battle. What is this? I'd beat you all with the same verse 10 times. He was like, your slogans are cool, but you need to get a whole verse that people like to hear. That's that hot shit.
No, I can't propagate that. Most slogans are not cool. I cannot be on camera.
I like short slogans.
My head approval.
I like some of the short slogans, but then there's some that are or even some of the longer ones that are it's coming and it's well played. It's not a bad. There's some slogans that are just a really long run-on sentence. I'm not gonna name any names here, but I've heard a couple people whose slogan is "Hey yo, it's Jeremy the Robber, catch you on the street getting proper, hit you hoffa." You already know what it is, and it's way too long, and you're all right, you just spit 2 or 3 bars that I've heard 4 times.
I have called out a couple of my friends over their slogans in a few of my roasts. I think Bretta Broke's a good sport, but I called him out on that. Slogans can be done right. If you do it like a New Jersey twerk thing, where it just gets the crowd fired up, you can use
or an A-verb.
But you listen, but if you're ending your round every round with the same slogan, it's probably not going to be as effective as just actually ending your round with a fucking haymaker.
Yeah, it kind of just shows that you have trouble with your haymakers and ending your rounds almost.
You know, the Snoop thing actually brings up an interesting, a very interesting point because, like, I don't know. Let me ask you: do you view battle rap as a sport, like a legitimate sport? Like, is that its primary function?
I mean, to a degree, it's also an art form because the way that battle rappers rap differs nowadays than the way rappers rap. Like if you were to rap a cappella and then try to battle rap, it's two completely different things at this point because battle rappers have decided, like I've seen people get clowned in a battle for rapping because they were rapping too much. And I was sitting there like, wait, what's going on here? Did you just Cause like you ever watch someone rapping and then their opponent does that thing with they're like they make it like they start like nodding their head to the beat that their opponent's rapping at, and it's like, oh yeah, you mad they can rap to a beat without there being a beat there? Cause that's what you're supposed to do too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like,
That's what I paid $20 to see. I don't know
it's
what you thought I paid $20 to see, but clearly that ain't it, Chief.
it's like you're just insulting him. It's not even rhyming. Like, what is this? What's going on?
Yeah. To be fair, to be a battle rapper nowadays, you don't even have to rhyme. Shout out to S. Dot. Shout out to S.
Fact.
Nah. He did actually. I've watched that battle a couple times. He did legitimately rhyme in that battle, as much as him and everybody claims they don't. He doesn't. He did rhyme a bit in that battle. Like it wasn't as crazy as people make it seem. There was a few spots that were here spitting bars that may not have rhymed, but that did hit.
There's some cool tricks that you can do. Like for me, like what I'll try to do is because I have a lot of multis in my battles. Like I'm known for having really multi-heavy, punch-heavy with an angle kind of battles, and so it's really hard to tell a story with just the same multi. And frankly, it sounds weird. So like what I'll do is, Christ, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I'll have a rhyme something similar, and then suddenly I'll just have the next line change slightly, and then do another couple of multis with that change, and then go back to the original. And you know, it's frankly it's a little easier than just keeping it strictly exactly multisyllabic rhyming. And I think it personally sounds a little bit better because it's not. Yeah. Like I watched like a reverse lives battle, and he did this like crazy multi scheme, but he was using the same thing over and over again. So, you know, it's hard to decipher. This is enough variance for people to like cue into it. That's some of my fucking strategy that I like to use when I'm writing my shit.
There you go. Yeah, no, definitely. Always got to keep that in mind, making sure that people are gonna like understand what you're saying, because that'll keep them interested. Because that's one thing. Like, I'm pretty with it, but there have been times where like someone was battling, let's say at 1 a.m, and it's now like a T Sawyer, someone that's really pen heavy, somebody that's like really bar heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, you should have battled first, because I don't even know what you're saying at this point. That's why
order goes so important. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's so important.
They need to redo the structure of how battle rap is presented live. Kind of, they need to because as of right now, having the main event as the last battle doesn't work. Having any of your main events as the last battle doesn't work. It makes no sense. You're literally giving the new guy the best spot on the card every fucking time.
The last couple of 413 events that I did, they actually had me going like second and third, and they did that like for the card that me and CJA got BOTN on. They actually had us going like third. We went right before. It was either, I can't remember exactly, that was a blur, but it was like right before or right after Memo and Carter. And that's the perfect time slot. People are just buzzed enough to get into it, not too drunk to misunderstand what you're saying and just like heckle you the entire fucking time. Yeah. And then like, you know, you get to just chill and enjoy the rest of the night without having a fight on your hands, like going on after that.
Yeah, I mean, like, part of that is on the fans, because I feel like a lot of fans won't stay to the end if the main event isn't at the end.
No, I don't know. I mean, like, I personally think there's a way to go about doing it. Like, let's say me and Caswell, like, because we were supposed to battle. Let's say me and Caswell were on a card, and they had, like, I don't know, I'll just throw a fire battle that happened already, like Jables and Rum Nitty.
Yeah.
Like, me and Caswell is fire, Jables, Rum Nitty is the event. So, like, if they were using us to get people to stay a little later, that's also appropriate. It's just incumbent upon us, the battlers, to be entertaining enough to captivate a drunk-ass crowd.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you. If you're not ready to deal with a bunch of drunk people willing to heckle you at a battle rap contest, like chances are you're not ready to be in that battle rap contest to begin with. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some exceptions for crowds, of course, but like, come on.
No, I've
It's
seen
like-
some crowds though that were a little bit over the top. There's
Oh, yeah.
always there's always a chance that someone's going to be over the top. I've seen people have to get removed from crowds at battle rap events.
Same.
Granted, I think I've only seen that once,
Couple
but
times.
nonetheless, I've seen people get removed from crowds at battle rap events because they wouldn't stop heckling the artist. And
Bullshit.
yeah, I've seen it happen in like big name battles too, where it was like, damn, dude almost fucked up the battle. But
It almost happened to somebody. I don't actually know the person's name, but it almost happened to somebody at the Memo Carter battle.
yeah, no, it happens.
Tossed out of a fucking Carter Deems battle. Like that's where you're gonna get rowdy. Like that's where you're gonna start acting up. Like what the fuck is that?
Well, I mean, maybe. All right. So Carter Deems is really into cats, but I don't know. Maybe he dissed one specific type of cat that dude was super into. Like, nah, man, Siamese cats are the goat. I don't know. Perhaps.
No, not even close. He ended his first round with, "I went to prom alone." Time. That was how he ended his first fucking round. I don't know, man. Like, frankly, like I did a live on this earlier, and like I honestly think that like there's a huge problem with the amount of gas that's in battle rap right now. It's really hard to like criticize your buddy's creative work when they're doing something, but it's on us to have lines that are like receptible, that the crowd is receptible to, and that like are layered enough so that everybody can take something out of it. Like most of the time when I hear somebody that's like bitching about their crowd reaction, there's usually an issue either with the material or the delivery. Sometimes it's just like the crowd was dead. You're battling like their local hero. I respect that. I've seen that too. But most of the time, there's actually some kind of issue. And if people don't call themselves out, and I'll do it respectfully, like if you ask me for in person, but if you don't call somebody out on it, like, dude, maybe you should stop spinning numbers as guns. Maybe that's why the crowd isn't reacting, because they just heard their gun skins.
If I feel like delivery is the main problem that a lot of as a fan watching, I feel like that's the main thing that turns me off from a lot of people's battles is their delivery. Like if you don't have a good delivery that matches your vocal tone and your mannerisms, your style of rapping, if your delivery and cadence doesn't match that, it's just not it for me. As a fan, it's just not what I'm looking to watch.
Well, really, right now we're touching on like two of the things that actually got me into battling in the first place. Because like, fucking look at me, I'm not your average battle rapper, but like I'm relatively new. Like I'm not new to battle rap anymore. I am definitely experienced. But like when I came into it, that 413 tryout that I did was the first battle that I ever fucking did. That's the first time I even attended a battle in general. Like that was my debut for everything. And so what really attracted me to this, though, is what we're talking about. It's the writing strategy and the performance strategy, because it's really two like sides of the same coin. They're both all intertwined, but like there's a lot of people that I don't think as much about this shit as some of the higher level guys tend to. People just think that like yelling is delivery, and it's not.
Yeah, no, it is not. A lot of people don't understand that while also being a competitive sport, battle rap is also a performance art. It is a performance art at its core. I mean, you literally get on stage and you're performing spoken word essentially, which in any other scenario other than being competitive would be considered a performing art. You could like go to school for the performing arts, and they could, in theory, if someone was so inclined, have a course on battle rap and the performance art relating to battle rap. You could make a college course on that.
You absolutely could. And there's some skills that translate well into everything else. Like if you can really write well and anticipate, that's like a debate skill. That's actually one of the things that I like to do. But yeah. It's pretty unique the way that this whole medium goes down. Like where else can I just write 2 minutes worth of material, 6 minutes worth of material, memorize it, and just go and fucking perform it? Like it's that in beat poetry, and I'm not a beat poet, so I love it, but that's just not what I'm into performing myself.
No, exactly. And and that is actually, after talking extensively with Scoot about the differences between battle rap and poetry. Poetry is actually very different in ways than battle rap, and vice versa. There's huge differences between, like, even just the way you prepare to write for a poetry slam, say, versus a rap battle.
That's yeah, exactly. I mean, and honestly, with the way that you like, depending on the opponents you pick, it'll never get old. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do you angle for Joy France? She's like the nicest person. I've been talking with her on and off. I'm trying to get her to join a Dungeons and Dragons game of mine. Joy, join a Dungeons and Dragons game of mine. But like, what do you say? Because you approach her with like the typical fucking tough guy angle, you're just gonna lose. You look fucking moronic. You
look like you're yelling at somebody's grandma.
Yeah, exactly. But if you come with that pussy shit, like, you're going to lose too, because you're a pussy. Like, this is a rap battle. So, like, how do you even approach that? And that kind of thing is really challenging and stimulating for me. So I would rather battle a B rapper and an A personality, like individual and originality wise, than vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, next up for me, I really would like to battle Black Mage off of like just the regular No Coast. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
I've seen a little bit of it.
He's fucking fire, and he's like, this gets thrown around a lot out there, but he is genuinely different. He takes like a prosy kind of almost storytelling, rhythmically Shakespearean angle on it, and I think that would be really fun to write against. It opens you up to some new angles.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I feel like battle rap is lacking a little bit of creativity as a whole, and I feel like there's definitely a large market for people who can be a little more creative than your average gun bar rapper.
I always tell people to try to put more of their own personality into their rounds. Like, even if you are going to be a gun bar rapper, which at this point, if you're going to start, don't. That market is fucking full. Thank you. But like,
give it like 2 more years. Let some people retire. Let some space open up. Take your time.
Yeah, let the pendulum swing back towards the non-gun bar rap, and then
while you're waiting, perfect your craft so that it's not exactly what we just heard.
But if you are going to ignore that advice and be a gun bar rapper because you enjoy spitting gun bars, which is fine, like, put your own personality and spin on it. Don't go with your first instinct.
Yeah, at least select your actual personal favorite gun. At least, like, go out, shoot a couple guns at a range, pick your favorite one, and write some bars about your literal favorite gun, because at least then it's a gun that you've actually shot in real life, even if it was just at a range.
Yeah.
And then when you do the gun motion, you can sit there and think to yourself, oh, this isn't the right gun motion. I've actually held this damn thing. I know what it looks like. Yeah. And then you can have like more accurate gun motions too.
Breaks his wrist holding a 44 Magnum to the side, and he's like, well, I guess that was a bad idea. Also missed. But like a lot of this, if you're not like I said in my video, I did a positive post. Like I said in there, if you're not like a CJA level locally, or like a Rum Nitty level, like, there's just, you got to be better than those guys, and chances are you're not. So it's like, don't do that. But if you are, put yourself into it, and you'll automatically be more creative than the next guy. So that's the easiest way of doing that. Oh, also, don't ever make gun sounds with your mouth. That's fucking comical. Like, just my sense. Yeah. And bow. Like,
yeah.
Sorry. Like, I no longer, I didn't think I could take you less seriously, but we are pushing the theoretical limit of how much I think you're trash, is what I'm trying to get at.
What people need to start doing is, and I feel like there's room for this in battle rap, it's 2020. You need to have your phone ready with a soundboard, first off, so that way you're not making gun sounds with your mouth. You're hitting a button on your phone, and it's making a shotgun pumping noise that's an actual shotgun being pumped. Because, I mean, sneaking the actual shotgun into the venue is going to be a little difficult, but you could totally pull up the sound on your phone. It's 2020. Like, when Gutta battled Hoodie was one of the first times I saw someone actually use an external sound in their battle. When he did, like, the Michael Myers, like, theme song, he said something spooky, and then, like, the Michael Myers theme song played. That was fine. But, like, people never do that.
People are afraid of getting called trash. Like, there's a lot of like risk averse battle rappers out there that if you have a formula that works, go with it until it doesn't anymore. I have no problem with that. But there's just a lot of people out there that have real creative streaks in them and are kind of, I don't know, maybe afraid is the right word to let them out. Like,
I don't know, because like Gutta showed when he did that against Hoodie Kruger of all people, one of the biggest names in New England, that like you can take a risk, you can step out on that branch a little bit and try something that you might not have ever tried before, and get a crowd reaction, and potentially win the battle.
Speaking of Hoodie, like, first of all, free Hoodie, and
Free
second
Hoodie.
of all, like fucking, he lifted a light white chick in the air as a metaphor for a gun. Like, like guys like people that constantly push the envelope, even if you don't work, like that's how it works. And that works for life too. That's how fucking tech works. Do you think people get successful on their first fucking try at stuff? Maybe like 0.01%. But if you have a weird idea for a battle, fucking do it. Like, I had New Jersey Twerk rolling to me pulling out a fucking Dungeons and Dragons character.
Exactly.
Dangerous.
If
Like,
that isn't proof enough that like you should be trying weird things.
by the way, I had that sheet totally filled out, by the way. It was hilarious. Like, I didn't even reference half the shit on there, but I took the time and really fucking put the work in nerd style to roll Danger up. Shouts to Danger, by the way. He's a real one. People should listen to him on the track, but I don't know. It's like,
he's actually really fire on the track.
It's like, and then people battle the same battler every time too. Like I said, I'm more into unique personalities than just technical rapping ability. A lot of people can rap out there, but like, there's only so many times that I can call somebody out on like fake fucking gun bars, and just being a poser. Like, that gets boring to me. I imagine it would also get boring to the audience. So keep it fresh.
It does, and as a fan, I'm telling you, you don't have to win every battle. You just have to show the fans that you're more entertaining than the next guy. The next guy might beat you and be less entertaining than you. He might, because I've judged battles, so I can tell you on a technical level, I might give someone the win and prefer all 3 of your rounds. But they might have scored better than you, because I have, the way I judge battles, I have a whole system, I score it. So that way, when you ask me why you lost, I can explain to you exactly why you lost, down to the numbers. And then because like, I'm to the point where I'll score bars. I'll give you points for bars that I don't personally like because I understand that that's a good bar and you got reaction for that and people respect that bar. I can see why it's a respectable bar. I don't have to like everything that everybody spits. But if you're taking the time to entertain me and do something out of the box, you've just gained a new fan who's going to watch every battle that you do, not someone that's going to watch just one battle because they were there for it. But I'm going to watch all your battles.
I personally think that I'm probably going to catch some shit for saying this, but battle rap is as much a sport to me as professional wrestling is. And I say that respectfully with some caveats, because obviously there are judge battles that do get called. There are prizes that are won. And battle rap tends to not be like a fixed spectacle. But the primary purpose of battle rap to me is entertainment. It just so happens to be that the spectacle of that competition, that element, that league element, you can get behind somebody, get behind their character at least. That is entertaining. So we roll with it. But really, at the end of the day, this is about producing entertainment content. And if your battle is entertaining, you won.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
And I was saying to Scoot yesterday, I mean, realistically, it just comes down to, did you do a good job? Did you entertain the crowd? Okay. It doesn't matter who won. You didn't want the battle to be judged. Why are you asking me if you won or lost the battle? I'm not going to tell you if you won or lost your battle. I'm going to tell you if you did good or bad. If I'm judging your battle, if you've asked ahead of time for the battle to be judged and that battle is judged, I'm going to tell you if you won or lost. Otherwise, I don't care if you won or lost. You didn't win or lose. There was no judgment. So you can't win.
See, I'm always curious from like a personal perspective whether someone thinks I won or lost a battle. I never take it personally either way.
If it's not judged, you can't win or lose as far as I'm concerned. It's an exhibition match.
That I think that's fucking fair. And like, my battles are so weird that like it's really difficult to compare my style to a lot of other battle rapper styles. So they can be hard to judge. But like, from like a personal standpoint, just like
which is why I came up with my system. Every battler fits into the system. I mean, because it's designed so that like you get points for everything. I mean, there's even room in my system for like if you did something crazy like with a D&D sheet, that's gonna get you more points than the average bar. That's gonna get you more points than a haymaker too, because you put more effort into it than just writing a haymaker. That's something that's taken into consideration. If it hits and you put in more effort, but by the same token, if you put that much effort in and it didn't hit, you still get points for that, just not as many, but you still get more points than if it was just a regular bar that didn't hit.
I think that's a good standard, and like just because it encourages people to take more risks, and that's the only way this shit's going to develop. I mean, like they just put Carter Deems on URL, like we need to, like that is a clear indicator that we need to take more risks.
Wait, they put Carter Deems on URL?
They're I believe they're going for it. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I think Lex.
He's on Wildin' Out, so like it was only a matter of time.
Well, like I think Lex picked him for one of his Crucible picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was like,
thing.
hell yeah.
The reason he'll do well on the URL is because there isn't a soul on the URL. Like he'll do well in a technical sense of he's gonna win all of his battles. I don't know if he'll do well in a sense of like the fans are going to love him on the URL. Can't say that. Can't speak to that. But I can tell you, there's not a URL battler that's going to be able to beat Carter Deems. You can't gun bar Carter Deems to death. This isn't going to be Tay-Rock versus Hollow. They said I can't gun bar him to death. Fuck is that? No. You really can't gun bar this dude to death. They don't even work.
His approach is so cool. He's one of those guys that would be really fun to write against. Carter, witness me. But like he's honestly like personal favorites. He's in my top 3 all-time writers, battle rappers. He's just so unconventional. So fire. He's like I love that. When someone asks to see a battle rap, I will show them Carter Deems versus Ilmac, or I'll show them Thesaurus versus Chilla. Depending on their taste for profanity and violence.
Yeah, you know, the one time someone asked me to show them a rap battle, I picked the wrong one. I showed them Oxymiron versus Disaster. Because we had been having a conversation about something that brought us to Oxymiron, and that's how that happened. But that's like a fucking like hour-long battle.
Yep, like
still though, that's like arguably the biggest battle in the history of battle rap on a global scale, at least.
Huge. I mean, like I was familiar with Oxy before the Disaster battle. Like I was like, damn, they're pulling out some stops for this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, okay, so if you watched Disaster's Instagram lives while he was in Russia with Oxymiron, they literally essentially this is like the Russian equivalent of if they convinced Drake to battle like Sizzla from the UK or something. If they just like convinced Drake to battle some foreign dude and we're all just sitting there like, how did he get the battle against Drake? That dude don't even speak English. If like Drake went somewhere and like battled in like French Canada in like French or something. Because like Oxymiron's huge out there. He brought Diz out on, for one of his lives, he brought Diz out on stage during one of their shows. And Diz went out on stage with Live, and it was a literal arena. Like, some shit Eminem would sell out, like, 20,000 people at least.
He's huge. Like, I got Russian in Pavic's family that I've heard of him before.
Yeah, he's fucking huge. So, like, when I realized how big he was, the fact that King of the Dot got him to come out and battle, he's, like, a big enough name where he definitely did that because he wanted to do that, not because the money wasn't the reason he did that. You could tell, like, he's a big enough name. He was just like, oh, I want to battle in English. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take the money.
And he doesn't need the money either. Like, he's good.
Dude, the dude loaded. Like, watching Disaster hang out with him in Russia, they were just, like, partying nonstop at these clubs. And it was hilarious because Oxymiron drinks heavily. And Russians obviously have the good alcohol. So they were getting, like, they gave Disaster some shit. He was on IG Live, and he was like, I don't know what this shit is, but don't drink it, man. And he was just like super. Oxymiron was a super cool dude, but it's just like he's a huge name out there. We need to figure out how to get a huge name out here to do that now. We need to find a way to like maybe send like Jay-Z over to Russia or something.
That would be dope.
Jay-Z battles some Russian dude.
It's funny on that like liquor point that you made. Like I have a strong background in folk music, and I can tell you for a fact that most Polish, Russian, and various other Slavic folk music is essentially, if you don't finish your vodka, you're not a man. That's pretty
So
much how those songs go down.
I was at a Pink Floyd, not Pink Floyd, Roger Waters concert. So part of Pink Floyd, former lead singer of Pink Floyd. But I was at a Roger Waters show not too long ago, last summer, and I ran into a buddy of mine, my buddy David, and he was blind at the time. Because I didn't know that, because he's not normally blind. That's not the typical state of his vision. But he had sat down next to some nice Armenian fellows, and they were from some Armenian mafia of some sort. I don't know if it was literally a mafia, but it was something like the Nitrous Mafia is for the Grateful Dead. But
Sure.
they instead of selling nitrous balloons, they sell white lightning, which is when you make moonshine, there's the moonshine, and then there's the second still that has the shit you don't drink. The white lightning is the shit you don't drink, and so they sell that at concerts because like one shot of that will get you fucked up. So they go, they follow like Roger Waters on tour and essentially just sell that shit. But what they don't tell you is that 2 shots of that'll make you blind for like a week, like fully blind. I had to take my buddy to the hospital. I ran into him and I like tapped him on the shoulder and he was all freaked out and I was like, David, what's up? And he was like, who is this? Who is this? I was like, dude, are you tripping or something? He was like, no, I'm blind. I was like, huh? You blind? I had to like walk him to the Red Line and take him to Charles to like the Mass General Hospital, and they were like, yeah, what did you drink? And he explained the situation to them, and they were like, yeah, you just shouldn't have drank that. You're gonna be blind for like a week. He's fine now. He can see now and everything. His
Good,
vision
I'm glad,
came
'cause
back
I'm
like
laughing
I think
at
it was like
that.
95% of his vision came back, something like that. So like he's good now.
I was
But,
chuckling. I'd feel terrible if he wasn't okay. So that's good.
yeah.
And PSA: don't drink 2 shots of that white lightning or any apparently.
Yeah, don't drink
because
any of the white lightning because he said that after the first shot he was kind of so fucked up that he just took the second shot because they offered it. And like, but to be fair, these guys, I'm assuming because they were drinking it as well, they probably drink this stuff so often that they have a bit more of a tolerance. Either that or they were both at that moment like blind and just didn't give a shit. And we're like just walking around blind like, oh no, I'm used to this. I do this all the time. I haven't seen anything in a week.
This drug dealing kit comes with a fucking cane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so you never know what you're going to get with that shit. Got to be careful with the alcohol. All the especially when it's coming from like other countries cuz everywhere's got their own method of making alcohol and just because the people there are used to that method of making alcohol and can stand it does not mean that you can.
One of my coworkers brought back some really weird tea liqueur from like the Ukraine, and that was an interesting night that I don't remember. That's like one of 2 times in my life that I've actually been drunk. I had like 3 shots of it because it was just so delicious and sweet, and it just went straight down. And then I was like, "Oh, this is my first time with hard alcohol." And then his eyes sort of bugged out, and he just pulled the bottle away from me, and he was like, "Yeah, you're cut off now." And I just sort of staggered back to my office and stared at my screen for like 2 hours. Then I went home.
There you go. When I was younger, my buddy's parents used to always give me they're Polish and they used to always give me these chocolates for Christmas that had rum in them. And I just never told my parents that there was like rum in them. But they didn't realize, you're not supposed to give those to children cuz like in Poland you just do, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They just do that. Like, they don't care.
So I was getting tipsy off the chocolates, although those tasted horrible. It's like a hard shell of chocolate with just a shot of liquor inside of the hard chocolate shell. So you just take a crunch of a hard chocolate shell and then liquor shoots in your mouth.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's super awkward. It's super awkward.
Very,
very strange.
Yeah, I'm there's like this collective delusion amongst like human beings anywhere, like everywhere, that hard alcohol tastes good. I don't know where that comes from.
Well,
like,
I'll say this: you can make some hard liquors taste better than others.
Sure, no. That's fair.
Actually,
like some and like high quality stuff. There's like an acquired taste to it, but like some people will like take a shot of Old Thompson whiskey and be like, "Oh, that's the stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the stuff that they use to strip fucking varnish off of violins." Like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, you have just shortened your lifespan by about 25 minutes.
If you're drinking Old Thompsons, I just assume that you're either homeless or you're in high school.
Or my grandfather, who recognizes the fucking value of like the $5.50 gallon of Old Thompson you can buy on the bottom shelf of that liquor store in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no,
Gonna
you'll
catch shit.
definitely run into that. You'll definitely run into that. I mean, it's always interesting because I've even had like liquor from like Portugal one time. I had this stuff called milk liquor that was essentially milk, but it was liquor. It wasn't milk with liquor in it. It was they had somehow turned liquor into a alcoholic milk. So it's not actually milk. It's just liquor with a milk consistency. Super
That's
weird.
that sounds cool. I've never tried that
Yeah,
before. I mean,
yeah,
I've
it
had
tastes
some
really
before,
good.
like, it just doesn't do it for me.
That one was one of the few that I could say without adding anything to it. It legitimately tasted good. Not in like and it wasn't like sweet in like the way schnapps is, because I hate
Right.
schnapps, like peach schnapps and stuff like that. I hate it. But this milk liquor, this was like it was almost like just drinking like a cinnamon milk, and then you got really drunk.
I had this wine on my honeymoon that it was the other time that I've been drunk in my life. It just tasted like fucking Capri Sun. It tasted like organic juice, and it
Yeah.
was like really alcoholic. Like you couldn't. There was no bitter to it. There was nothing. It was just like this perfect sweet nectar of the fucking gods. And I was like, and I suddenly looked down, and there's like 2.5 bottles of like the blueberry liqueur missing, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so that's why I feel this way. I understand now. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna
No,
say.
I've had a couple sours recently that were really good tasting, and I'll end up drinking like two or three of them. But I don't drink very often, so I'll have like three sours, and I'll be a little too buzzed to be driving, and then I'll be stuck at my buddy's house for a few hours.
You know, I don't think I've touched alcohol in like 2.5 years now that I think about it. I think the last time was like a Thanksgiving where I had some amaretto. But after
Yeah,
that,
I
it was
don't drink
like,
too heavily myself. I mostly just smoke occasionally, and that's about it. Every once in a while, socially, I'll have a beer, but that's it.
yeah, depending on the job situation, I'll comment more freely on that
Yeah,
once I
some
understand where I'm
jobs, some
after I've
jobs
done.
you gotta play the right side of the field versus the left for a little
It was
while.
fun because like people expect me just to be like living in a farm the whole time. Like, yeah, I've done a lot of crazy farm shit like that pig slaughtering verse I wrote. It's more or less true. Like we raised pigs for meat. The process we used was slightly different than that, but that is the process of slaughtering a pig. But like in actuality, I worked in like high tech companies and I do
Yeah.
like all sorts of different like corporate stuff. So it's been a interesting ride balancing that life with battle rapping. Although the tech company I worked for was downright supportive, like my bosses were sharing my battles and shit, so that was fun.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
You
no, I
never
mean,
know.
tech companies are eventually going to get involved with battle rap on some degree anyways. It's bound to happen with the all the apps that are coming out and the new partnership between Caffeine and URL. Battle rap's only getting bigger and more mainstream. In theory,
And
if
with
the
this,
cat if Caffeine
with this
gets their
COVID
shit together,
thing,
could be great.
yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. Like that'll be interesting. I actually downloaded caffeine the other day myself, but like in theory, like the whole fucking COVID thing is shifting the way all life is going to work. So technology is going to be massively incorporated. I think when you were talking about earlier about like the digital battles where you use like VFX to just make it look like they're
Yeah.
standing with each other, that's probably going to be a thing. Like it or not, we're going to go through pockets of quarantine now that like all this shit is going down, especially with everything else. That's a real possibility. So any technological solution is a good one for me, you know?
Yeah, I'm just like, it's getting to the point where I think that if we ever go into another quarantine like this, I think the URL is going to invest in getting like something like the Tupac hologram technology, but for battle rappers. So they could have, like, say, bring Surf out, right? And have Surf in the building live, but then have Tay Rock being virtually streamed from, let's say, Baltimore, so he doesn't have to leave his house, and they have the holographic Tay Rock right there. And now I've seen a holographic concert live, so I've seen what the technology can and cannot do. The Tupac hologram was much nicer than the Ronnie James Dio hologram I saw for $20, but still, it's
The
interesting.
you should check out if this is something that you got that anyone watching or you are interested in. There's this YouTube channel called Corridor Crew. They're the old channel called Corridor Digital, and they're like behind the scenes. They're a VFX house, and they actually did the Tupac video for Snoop Dogg and have a behind the scenes on how they constructed that and what it took.
Yeah,
So
because
it's
that one
cool.
was
Stop.
far and away I believe that is considered to be the best use of a hologram out there. Other
They
than
won awards.
my personal favorite though is at one point Julian Assange was holographically streamed into for something in Massachusetts. He was speaking, but they holographically streamed him because he's not allowed in the United States of America. And that was my personal favorite because it was like, oh, I'm not allowed in the U.S. Hold on, let me just send my hologram.
The future is now. Video
Yeah.
battles, gun
So
bars are
like,
back in.
yeah,
Year of our Lord 20.
you never know. Next thing you know, Edward Snowden might be virtually visiting his family with a hologram.
So ask me a battle rap question that could get me in trouble. Ask me who I like or dislike, something like that.
Okay,
Get me in trouble.
Who's your least favorite battler on the 413 roster right now?
Least favorite battler on
Least
the
favorite,
413
yeah.
roster right now? Oh.
I'm not saying the
Currently,
worst battler, but your least favorite. They don't have to be the worst. Shit, they could even be the best as long as they're just your least favorite. Gotta plug my laptop back in.
so like, I'm gonna say because of how much I actively disliked a couple angles that he used, Pressure is probably my least favorite on the 413. I don't know if he's officially 413 roster anymore. I don't speak to his business. Like we don't really like interact that much. So sorry for calling you out, but like it was just some of the material that he uses. It doesn't really resonate with me. And the reason that I named him this one specifically, in case you're watching and want to call me a hater, is you gave a grown man shit for using for providing for his family. You called Gutta out for having a 9 to 5 when he has like kids and shit to support, and I just don't fuck with that philosophically. So like that lost me a bit as a fan, and I'm saying this respectfully. Like I haven't had any negative experiences with Pressure before. I've seen other battles of Pressure where he has been really good, but like that particular one kind of stood out to me in a bad way.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Since we're on the topic, we here at Battle Hype TV want to say we love all battlers except for Chris Casey. We love all battlers except for Chris Casey. I know he will never battle again because that dude's trash, garbage, gutter juice. But
I actually have a very different opinion on Chris Casey. Believe it or not, I've like spent some time with him outside of battle rap.
he's a good person. Everyone says he's a decent guy. Or at least that he's trying.
Not going to get into his business, but trust me, he actually can write incredibly well and spit incredibly well. He's a good guy, and I actually really like kind of like when you talk about. It's funny. I'm gonna call you out because we're talking about people that aren't afraid to take risks and try. Chris Casey takes some risks.
Yeah, but he also was very disrespectful to the staff at Premier. His opponent, he almost got in a fight with C4. He was like wiling out, kicking drinks at people. Like, look, there's taking risks, and then there's walking into a venue, telling the host to go fuck themselves, spitting like half your round, kicking a drink at somebody, and fucking throwing a temper tantrum.
So I'm not going to comment on any of that. I was there. I'm not going to comment on any of that, but like that is a valid point in a vacuum by itself. Shouts out to Chris Casey, amigo. Hit me up in League of Legends anytime.
Yeah. To be fair, as much as I don't like him, I do wish that he would come back to battle rap and redeem himself, so that way, people would have a good reason to be like, you know what, fuck you, Cheeks, in your opinion of Chris Casey. I want to see him thrive because I want to see everybody thrive. I want to see literally anybody that's watching this. I want to see you win $1 million on the lottery. I hope you fucking like get that dream job or whatever. I hope you all win. But on that same token, Chris Casey, you trash. Don't come back to battle rap. Don't even bother trying to prove me wrong. You can't. You couldn't even beat John Blaze. Let's go. Get him out of here. Stay home.
You're insulting all of my friends, jackass. No, but
yeah, John Blaze is actually a really, really solid battler. As much as I don't see eye to eye with him, I said this last night in my interview with Scoot. I don't think I've ever seen John Blaze choke or like have a bad performance in front of me. I don't always see eye to eye with him, but
John Blaze has some fucking fire shit out there. Like
Yeah. And he beat the
He-
dog shit out of Chris Casey. He like when I say Chris Casey couldn't beat John Blaze, not only could he not beat him, he got beat bad by John Blaze in my opinion. John Blaze was styling on him at that point.
I personally like just to summarize the Chris Casey. I fucks with him on a personal level and as a battler, and he's
He's got a
actually
really
a pretty
creative writing
brilliant
style.
writer. But I
It's
can
the only reason I say
understand
I want
based
to
on
thrive.
that I can understand based on the experience that you've seen and your perspective why you would say those things. But I just want to go on record and say I can't agree with that.
That's fine. That's good. That's good. I'm glad we don't agree on everything. It's good when you can have an open discussion with people and you can agree to disagree on things. I like that. That's the way it should be.
So like it's interesting because it's just like the reception that certain characters get is very fascinating. Like I'm kind of surprised that people have been as receptive to my bars as they have, because I do a lot of shit that like other rappers get called out over. Like I'm calling out people over gun bars. I'm talking some spicy shit over some status quo stuff. But simultaneously,
It's because the pen's heavy enough to back everything to make it seem reasonable, like it's coming from a reasonable place. Whereas if like say I just started battling it, like I did like a battle and I did all right in my battle, right? I didn't do bad, but then I started calling out all these like other battlers on like, oh, I think that this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing. They're gonna be like, bro, you had one battle, get the fuck out of here. You spit some all right gun bars, or you had an all right angle and you beat some tryout dude. Good for fucking you. Whereas you are a respected member of the community and you have a night and you're respected with your pen beyond just like, all right, it's not just Bacon can perform or Bacon can write a few bars. You have a nice combination of both and you're able to interact with the crowd so people respect your opinion.
see, I had an advantage over other battle rap rookies. I had a significant advantage because even though I am new to battling, I did theater for like 11 years prior to this. I performed in every type of fucking musical acts. Like I used to go from fucking singing in my metal bands to church choir to a fucking like folk festival, essentially, like all that shit. So even though I am new to battle rap, I am not, well, relatively 2 years isn't that much time. I am not new to music and I am not new to performing. And frankly, I think that being new to battle rap and coming into it is one of the reasons why I've been as prolific as I have, because I am coming from a genuinely different place. Like a lot of the references that I make that get credited to being like creative and shit, those are references that like you make like some of the D&D jokes that I make, you make those to a Dungeons and Dragons player, like that just they've heard those before. But, like nothing like like that exists in battle. So like I don't fall into the same tropes that people do. I don't have like I didn't grow up listening to Numbers as Guns and don't have a fucking delusion in my head that most Numbers as Guns is good. Like I just write and I try to approach things from a more genuine perspective, and I think that's why I've been doing well. Who the fuck talks about slaughtering pigs? You know, like who does that? Nobody. So might as well make it me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Although, I bet you if you look through the entirety of battle rap, I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one other dude, probably someone in the South, that has a scheme about working on a farm and slaughtering pigs. Maybe not as in depth, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone's had a bar where they've mentioned them working on a farm, slaughtering pigs, and something to do with that and slaughtering their opponent.
It's no, I bet that exists definitely. Like it's there's a lot of local battlers, especially in like Southern leagues. You're right about that, but like,
And that's the
yeah,
thing. I've seen some things on smaller leagues that made me go, huh? I've seen you never know what you're gonna come across when you watch those smaller leagues. You could like I've seen some one-offs from like names that I've never even heard of that I was like, why didn't you continue battling? And then I've seen some dudes that battled on the same league like 85 times, and I'm like, they keep booking you? They booked you like 85 times? Really? So you never know.
it can be tough. Like there's a lot of factors that go into that. Maybe the battler is like a friend to somebody. Maybe he's just like the only person that shows up fucking on time and sober.
Hey, to be fair, if you're not choking and you show up on time and sober, you should continue to get booked, in my opinion, because of how many people can't fucking do that. That's a
one of those
skill.
things a new battler can do
to immediately distinguish themselves from the rest of the crowd. Like, it's hard to get good at battling without battling, and some guys get stuck in this trap where like they're not getting booked, so they can't develop, and they just aren't getting booked because they're bad, but they're not getting booked, so they can. It's like a catch-22. So if you have other ways of distinguishing yourself, like just being a genuinely decent human being, for example, just like trying
Always
to
a good idea.
your ego go to your head and shit like that. Like, people will work with you. Like, look what I just did. I'm a fucking roster member at 413 Battle League and No Coast New England now. And
Shout
the
out
way
to
that
No Coast New England. Shout out to
Shout
No
out.
Coast New England.
Bill Blaze, Tony Weeks, all those guys. But like, the way that came about was that No Coast is people that I want to battle. I want to travel internationally and battle some people over there. I want to battle Joy France in person. That would be wicked fucking fun. But I want to travel internationally and battle. So, but at the same time, 413 was my home. They gave me a shot, and they kept booking me, and they gave me feedback and giving me a good progression of opponents. So like, I don't want to screw anybody over. So I just fucking asked them. I was just like, hey, mind if I rep both leagues? Like, is that cool? And because I'm easy to work with, they were like, yeah, dude, that's totally fine. Just make it clear that you're on both rosters.
Yeah, no, some people just aren't easy to work with, it seems, or it's just some people just you can tell they just seem like they're easier to work with, and that leagues don't seem to have a problem booking them or working with them, whereas some people are really hard to book. And now some people have like a right to some degree to be like a little more difficult to work with than others because maybe their skill level is higher. Maybe not a right. I guess that's putting it the wrong way. But I guess as a fan, I can understand more so with certain people why they're a little harder to deal with, why they may want a little more money for their bookings or something like that. But like
there's
whereas,
a difference between getting money for something and like knowing your worth and expecting a reasonable return on the value that you're presenting and being difficult to work with. Like, there's a huge difference there. Like, if you're fucking just like, this is my booking fee, this is what I'm going to do for the league, this is how much I should be able to bring in, so this is what I'd like to take out. That's not difficult to work with when you're negotiating. It's like the people that are like, nah, fuck that, I am the GOAT, like, you disrespect me with this opponent, like, I pull in, like basically just watch Lex's latest live about like battle rappers trying to ask for money when they bring in like fucking pennies on the dollar, and then just the general ego, like, I don't care how good you are. There are other people that can do what you do. And if you're like enough of a scummy human being, I'm just not gonna fucking work with you. And that goes for like everything too. Like, I don't like artists are just human beings, and I'm at a level where like I get recognized very occasionally, but like that goes for everybody. I used to be a stagehand, actually. I used to work at Comcast Center, Great Woods, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I've set up like tons of major concerts there, and I can tell you that like nobody has a right to have that kind of like that type of ego of like, you fucking, you think you get
as a stagehand myself, the most famous person I've ever met was actually one of the nicest people I've had the pleasure of working for, and it was Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. Yeah, very nice individual. I mean, I might not agree with all his political views, but he's a really nice guy. Seemed down to earth. I did the Solve Summit at MIT. I set up for that, and so I actually met a few people who are apparently very important that I don't know who they are, but they are some form of world leaders, and probably the president of some country that I have never been to and will probably never get to visit. But suffice to say, they were all in Boston for the MIT thing, and I never get told what I'm going to be setting up for when I go to do stagehand work, because it's always just random corporate events. If I'm lucky, it's at MIT, because they usually have the more fun events. MIT's pretty fun like that. They also have the messiest events, though. MIT creates so much waste, it's not even funny. It's like mind-boggling. A group of the smartest individuals in the world, and they literally use like 5 billion disposable coffee cups.
Yeah, that's because they need the coffee in order to continue being that smart.
Yes, but they make reusable mugs, reusable large-sized coffee mugs that you can bring to the event and just refill repeatedly, and only use one, and save the environment.
That's too much like thought. That's not their fucking math problems.
It is, but dude, like they're busy like the Solve Summit. That was literally to solve like the world's environmental problems. And then the amount of trash that they left over from a summit about dealing with trash was like, what are you doing? Why is there like 8 billion plastic cups here?
So like, dude, those gigs are fucking crazy. Like they work you like savages. I did it for IATSE, so it was all like musical acts and shit.
I did like a Republican National Convention once, which was hilarious because we forced them to, the venue forced them to get union labor. But
like some of the, it's one thing because I do have some sympathy for these guys, like the superstars, that they're getting harassed by like the general public. So you're just going in there expecting somebody to be a fucking weirdo on you, and you don't want to talk to anybody. That's one thing. But like I actually think I'm legally prohibited from naming names, but there was a major act that literally
is worldwide. You have heard of them, I guarantee it.
This guy walks off this stage, and there's this new stagehand who was just standing off the side. And as this dude is passing, he just goes, "Nice job, sir." This guy walks over to his stage manager and he goes, "This motherfucker thinks he can talk to me." And that dude got blacklisted. He never got called back to that venue, and he got like little piddly gigs from the union from there on in. That was it. It was just, "Nice job, sir." And that's unreasonable. But then there's guys like Snoop Dogg, who is like one of the nicest human beings you'll ever fucking meet. Like Ozzy Osbourne fed us lobster. He didn't have to fucking do that. Darius Rucker like walked around and shook everybody's hand and thanked everybody that worked for him personally. So like there's a lot of good people out there too.
I did an event recently where the lady that set up the event, nicest lady, she brought us all bagels, right? From some like some really nice bagel place in New York. She had come all the way out from New York. It was a corporate event in Boston. She realized she had forgotten cream cheese. This lady drove all the way back to New York because she said the cream cheese was that good, and she went and got fucking cream cheese. But like some of these people just have a lot of money. They're like really important corporate people that we work for, and so they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I could just take a plane back to New York. It'll be like 45 minutes. I'll just get my jet going." And you'll be like, "You'll get your jet going?" Yeah. My jet's just down the road at my private hangar. "You have a private hangar at Logan?" You don't say. Yeah. So like,
dude, I knew one of the runners at the House of Blues, like the guys that would go out and get all the weird shit for the artists. And I think I can say this. So like Steven Tyler, he's a weird guy, but he's decent human being. But so it's like 7:30 on a Friday night in Boston. It's like, no, I'm sorry, it was like 9 on a Friday, and he's getting there, and so the runner's talking. He's like, "So what do you need?" And he goes, "All right. Mr. Tyler needs two things. He needs a candelabra and a fur-lined pair of UGG boots size 14. And this is like in the middle of July on like a 9 p.m. on a Friday night in the middle of Boston. Where the fuck do you get a candelabra? So he eventually figures out, like, just paid some dude $500 for his worst candelabra. And this antique shop guy like walked downstairs and made the transaction. And he drives out to fucking Connecticut to like an UGG's warehouse to pick up these boots. He drives them back, gives everything in after like 2 hours of this dude just slaving. And he goes, "Oh, lovely. One more just like him for so-and-so." And he goes, "Thank you." Walked into a supply closet and just screamed for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that'll happen. I was I had to do some running once for James Cotton, a blues musician. But yeah, I had to get him some stuff once because he was performing at a VFW and they did not have any runners because it's a freaking VFW. So I went and got him some Ocean Spray Cranberry Light. Nice guy, really nice guy. Can play the harmonica like nobody's business.
I liked working with Dave Matthews. That was pretty fun.
He seems like he'd be a nice guy. Not my favorite music, but he seems like he'd be a nice guy.
It's not my favorite music, but like I'll jam out.
It's really
Dave
upbeat
Matthews.
though. It's really upbeat, so I like upbeat music.
So there was a security guard. She was like 70-something years old, and it was her fucking birthday, and she couldn't get the day off because like bullshit. And Dave Matthews heard about this. Goes, "Yeah, I'm your boss for the day, right?" "Yeah." "Get in." And she basically spent her birthday driving around in a golf cart with Dave Matthews, drinking whiskey and smoking joints because he felt bad that this 70-something-year-old woman was forced to work for his show on her goddamn birthday. It was like a 12-hour shift.
Some of these venues make old ladies do the craziest shit. I was at that Roger Waters show, right? And so Roger Waters is very politically outspoken when it comes to his shows. He has a whole every show. He's got a whole bit where he does his best to try to piss off Republicans, essentially. And when I saw him, it was at the time when that whole Colin Kaepernick take a knee during the anthem thing was going on. So he was, during that whole tour that he was on, he was stopping in the middle of the show, playing the national anthem, and taking a knee. But he would preface it by saying, "Hey, I know I'm not an American and that my opinion on this really doesn't matter, but I fucking hate your president." And then like bitch out Trump for like 5 minutes, and then take the knee. And he had more plenty more anti-Trump stuff throughout the whole show, like a ton of it. The whole show was anti-Trump. I ended up getting moved from the $70 balcony seats to like $350 floor seats because like a bunch of people left because they were Trump supporters, I'm guessing, and they left once all the anti-Trump rhetoric started. Like I don't know if you've ever heard the song "Mother" by Pink Floyd, but it's like, "Mother, should I build the wall?" But like obviously the whole time there was like anti-Trump imagery. They had a big balloon with like Trump's face and clown paint on it, and like shaped like a pig, and like flying around like the crowd.
Like, politics aside, that's such a baller move. Just
it really was.
Take their money, piss them off, they leave, they don't even get to see the concert, and then move up some people that aren't fucking pissed off. That's so funny.
So there was these dudes though just when he started taking the knee. I was still on the balcony at this point, and there was these dudes that had obviously just bought the cheapest tickets they could, and they must have been following him around the country because none of them seemed like they were from Boston. They had like Southern accents, and now granted they might not have been from the South. They could have been from anywhere. I say Southern accents. They did sound like they were from the South, but that does not indicate that they are Southerners. I just want to make that clear to my Southern homies. This is not a diss to y'all. But these dudes, they were like middle-aged white dudes, probably in like late 40s, early 50s, and they started screaming, "Fuck you, Roger, you British piece of shit, go back to fucking London, you faggot." Started screaming at him. And so this old lady comes over from the venue, from the garden, we're at the TD Garden, and she, politely asks them, "Hey, could you not do that? There's people trying to enjoy the show. If you've got a problem with the act, you're more than welcome to leave. You can," and she even started to explain to them the refund process, how you can go about asking for a refund if you were legitimately offended by something you saw in the show and it wasn't expressly told to you that you might be offended. Because he is technically, you could get a refund if you were that offended by his political banter, because he doesn't mention anywhere in there that the show is going to be political. Whereas you'll notice comedians, when they have a show that's going to be incredibly politic heavy or even just incredibly heavy with swears, they'll warn you ahead of time so that you don't show up to their show and get disappointed and ruin the fucking crowd, because a lot of times they're not stupid. But Roger don't give a shit because he knows nobody cares for the most part of his shows.
Oh yeah, he just wants to fuck with them.
Yeah, and so they ended up cold clocking this 70-year-old lady, like knocking her the fuck out, and then like security came over after that. But like, why'd they send that lady over in the first place? Security should have been sent over right away. It was crazy.
It's always the way they make they make the worst people do, not the worst, but like the worst suited people do the craziest shit in the security over there. But this is an awkward conversational transition, but I think I'm about to reach my hard stop.
No, that's fine. That is fine. Have a good evening, and thank you for your time tonight, Bacon. Be on the lookout for anything coming up from Bacon. Is there anything that hasn't dropped yet that people should be on the lookout that you can tell us about?
So we have a very special roast coming up. I'm in the process of writing it now. I figure, you know what? Battle rappers are, and clip the shit out of this and share this, by the way. But I figure for this roast, battle rappers are, we're always abusing each other for each other's amusements while the league owners sit there like fucking Bond villains, having us dance like marionettes in front of them, laughing from relative safety. Nah. Next pork roast is going to happen. We got some league owners, and wait till you see who said it would be cool if we roasted them.
Okay, that's going to be interesting. But now I can assume that Bill Blaze is not on that list because you've already having already been in a rumble with Bill.
No, fuck that. Bill Blaze is on that list. Bill Blaze.
Okay.
Bill Blaze is getting roasted. He's getting roasted.
The double roast.
I battled in 3 rounds and roasted him 3 times. I don't subscribe to the notion of running out of shit to say. No, we're writers. Everybody in this fucking thing is a Muppet. So like, if you can't come up with something funny, then the fuck are you doing, right? Like, just observe what Bill Blaze does for like 20 minutes, and you will be able to roast him. It's easy.
First off, if you're even half decent at roasting people, you should be able to roast anybody. I mean, it's all relative. It's all
But
relative. Have a
I
good
got
night,
that
though.
happening, and I also have. Stay tuned. I think I'm gonna make it into the round 2 for Hit List Battle Tournament. I got a couple other announcements that are pending, but we'll be coming up. We're working, quarantine or not. Like we're writing, making calls, and going at it. But I'm gonna go eat some dinner.
Alrighty, have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there, brother.
Same to you, amigo. Thanks for doing it.